Tuesday. Okay, where to begin? Well, last night I asked mom if she could drive me to Roderick's place. I really didn't know who else to talk to, so it was him or Rowley, and I don't think I've got the energy to try and fix that issue. Mom told me she was tired but suggested dad drive me and pick a pizza on our way back. I'm not sure if he was hungry or what, but he seemed excited to go for a drive. Oh, look at this Frank guy feeling for the YGs. Yeah, he was hungry. He got himself a small meal combo, and when we got to Roderick's, he told me to go inside and he'd catch up, so I just let him enjoy his food. Roderick was surprised to see me, despite him having grown up. I guess he never really lost his style, whatever you'd call not showering regularly. And having a diet that consists of 7-Eleven nachos and Dr. Pepper, either way, I was glad to see him. I just realized I haven't shown you what Roderick looks like now. I think this pretty much sums it up. His girlfriend Maxie is slowly convincing him to cut down his hair. Still bumps rock, but also some pop music now. Don't be fooled, he has more tattoos now. Thankfully, most of their merch is just titled LD instead of loaded diaper. Anyways, I dropped my thoughts onto Roderick. I don't know why my brain thought he was the best choice for this, but before I could regret it, he actually started giving me some, well, sort of advice. He pretty much told me that he thought I was going through basically some Peter Pan syndrome mixed with hormones. Not gonna lie, hearing him say the word hormones made me cringe on the inside. I kept on listening, and Roderick told me that there wasn't really advice he could give me other than to simply try and figure out what kind of person I want to be. Apparently, he learned this himself rather early, so by high school, he'd already chosen what type of person he was, and according to him, right now, I'm going through phases. Ugh. Normal Greg, you got Clown Greg, you got Dancer Greg. Rrr. Roderick told me that I shouldn't try forgetting about Fregley, but to think about it with a clear head, his parents didn't let me to the funeral or go to the funeral because apparently they didn't let anyone in. They must have felt ashamed. As simple as advice as this was, I'm glad I chose to visit. Honestly, reading back now, I feel kind of silly for making such a big deal out of. Well, just growing up, I can't change the past. Why worry about it, right? That's some sort of advice there. Like, just gotta move on. Like, you can't change the past, innit? Thursday. Honestly, I'm surprised at how many of those entries are just me telling you about a new problem or weird situation I find myself in. Freshman year was not like this. Trust me. I think the biggest thing that happened that year was when there was a streaker at a football rally, followed by a parent walking into the field and knocking down the PE teacher. Turns out he was knocking down on his daughter. The Daily Herald, local father does public service. Yes, you heard us right. This man did what any sane parent would do, so don't judge cause the something. Anyways, let me tell you how my Wednesday went. It was mostly uneventful at first. I was clearing out my backpack, and when we got to the school, planned on throwing away the trash, but I quickly noticed a lack of trash cans. It seems the poop bandit was still on the run because apparently another sighting happened that morning. Thankfully, I wasn't witness to it this time. Anyways, the rest of the day went on as usual with the exception of PE class, which has been turned to dance class for the dance. I'll be honest, I'm kind of glad they're doing it since I've never exactly been one to get with the beat. What still worries me is that no one in the lunch table has even mentioned the dance. I just hope there isn't a secret group chat which I'm not a part of. Huh? Insecurity in high school? Who could have guessed? Anyways, after school is where the real mess began. Mom and dad were out and there wasn't any food apart from a 2-week-old quesadilla, and you couldn't pay me to eat that. So I called mom and asked if I could borrow $20 for some 7 mac and cheese. They were going to be gone for a while, so she agreed. I rode my bike, and when I got there, I wanted to make it as quick as possible because I'll be honest, I always get weirded out by those people who are always around convenience stores. It's like a nitty reeks of cigarettes and wet trash. Ew. That's when I spotted Patty. I've never seen them near the clock tower area, so I was very confused. Oh, also, it's called the clock tower area because there's a clock tower in the middle of this, well, I don't know what you'd call it. Town? Shop center? There's just a bunch of stores in this place that connect the neighborhoods. There's a map. Wow, this guy. Yeah, wow, look at the map. Yeah, I was gonna go talk to her, but then she dragged me into an aisle by the back and started talking and grabbing me by the shoulder. But it wasn't hard to get the memo because at the end of the aisle by the food counter, a dude walked up who just screamed, "Creep!" Damn, look at his long eye head. Creepy hairstyles, yeah, a requirement for creeps to have zero drip. Skinny, but dude was like 6'4". Damn, guy could be on the round seam. Those eyes, ew, brother, ew. He was holding his phone and Patty told me she thought he was taking some photos of her. I don't know why, but that really irked me the wrong way. She wanted to leave ASAP, but I thought we needed to do something else. So we did. I called up Rowley, who I knew was hanging out with Tyson in the mall. They were on their way out and agreed to come pick us up. It was a bit awkward since we had to wait like 10 minutes, but as soon as we saw them, I gave Patty a nod. You prefer bearskin, right? Or did we use Magnum last time? What the flip? I have no clue what she was thinking, but the guy began walking towards us. I had to think quickly, so I had a risky move. I pulled Patty by the hand and we ran past him. Thankfully, it paid off because he wasn't expecting that. He turned around, but by then, Patty was out the door. She turned back, yelling for me, but I had another idea. I threw a piece at him. Oh, dude. Out of here, man. I threw up 20 at the cashier and ran to Tyson's van. Well, not before hauling my bike inside with me. Tyson and Rowley were freaking out as we drove away, but once I explained everything, they just started laughing. Or at least until Patty gave them a death stare. Then they shut up. I still hadn't gotten anything to eat, so Tyson dropped me off at the mall. That's when I ran into someone familiar and someone not so familiar. Oh, lucky 13, their name is Riley. But since they were born on Friday the 13th, you get lucky 13, get it? We hugged and started talking as we walked to the food court. Turns out they're moving to Plainview because their mom, note to self, Mrs. Jen, is gonna be the new junior math teacher. Remember Greg in a year? Is now working in Westview. I'll be honest, I never expected to see anyone from camp ever again, so I was already thinking how I'd introduce them to the others. Riley is nice and funny, but she's very blunt. They've basically got no filter. It's addicted to Dr. Thunder sodas. Usually people think before they speak. Riley doesn't do that. They're actually 1 year older than me. Dom would constantly call Riley mommy hips. What the hell? They helped to find a new style of clothes and the reason I wear boots now. The other girl was Riley's cousin, Greta. Yeah, trust me, I had the same reaction. Riley started telling me how they're moving in together since Greta's parents have been having some problems. I noticed Greta was kind of quiet compared to Riley, so I stopped them midway since I didn't need their trauma dumping if they didn't want it. That seemed to make them happy. Well, not Riley, but pain and despair is the only thing that brings them joy. She's sort of a wimp. Anyways, after some much needed Chinese food, I ordered some more to go and went on my way. It would be nice to have them at school, but then I started having thoughts about how it could all go wrong. Anyways, it's late now, so I'm gonna hit the hay. Fingers crossed for tomorrow. Friday. Well, apparently whoever invented the saying fingers crossed was full of crap. Okay, so first thing in the morning, I got Rowley on the bus to school. We don't really talk like we used to anymore. I mean, heck, we don't sit together on the bus ever. But to be fair, there's only like 30 people on our stop, so it'd be kind of awkward anyways. Awkward! I told him about Riley and their cousin, but Riley seemed kind of bored of the conversation. He started telling me that he met the new exterminator before I'd called him. As it turns out, they're from New York too. Riley then started telling me about his family's trip to New York, but I've heard enough of his family's lavish trips, so I tuned him out. Anyways, hopefully now we won't have to check the chicken sandwiches for fried rats. Thanks, Mr. Maxwell. Anyways, when the lunch bell rang, I got to the cafeteria early and looked around as people began coming in. I know it's dumb, but I feel like there's some small white lie or some misunderstanding or embarrassing story or something that could ruin me. Eventually the coast seemed clear and I took a deep breath as Angie and Patty sat down. Don't let this fool you, I am taller. And then Riley was kind enough to introduce themselves. I went as smooth as you would expect. Angie started asking if Riley had any gossip about me while Patty started telling her about the cheese accident. After 3 agonizing minutes, they finally stopped laughing. At my expense, Riley introduced themselves, and then she called over Greta, who happened to have the same lunch period as us. She perked up when she saw us, since Riley told us she used to go to an all-girls school.